What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button in the next 5 seconds and you'll actually get good luck for the next 13 years. Anyways, as you guys can tell from the title, today I'm going to be talking about this one time in middle school and my school bus went absolutely rambunctious and a riot started. Yeah, that's right. Don't ask me how a school riot started on my bus. We're getting there. That's why it's called a story time. But yeah, let's just put it gently. I think there was 37 kids on the bus and 27 ended up getting suspended for fighting. So just your typical normal day on the school bus, you know? We were sitting there, Oscar the Grouch was teaching us our alphabet, and next thing I know, Becky from Long Beach is beating the crap out of Sharon from Augustus, and nobody knows what's going on. There's teeth flying everywhere, chunks of hair. I'm pretty sure at one point I saw the ghost of Yoda actually hitting the nene on top of a kid's passed out body. In reality, though, it was just a pretty crazy situation that happened on the bus, and I think you guys are going to find it interesting, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I don't know how many of you guys ride the bus, but to put it gently, it's actually one of the worst experiences of all time, alright? You gather up a bunch of kids at like 6:30 in the morning and tell them to sit on this giant yellow Twinkie and ride it to class, and you can't be too loud, you can't make too much noise, but at the same time, you're not allowed to sleep either. So you basically lock these kids in purgatory, and for 30 minutes, we basically have no adult supervision whatsoever, because the only adult on the bus is kind of in charge of not crashing the 6-ton bus into a wall with a bunch of screaming kids in the background. And trust me, that's a lot harder than it sounds, alright? I don't know if you've ever tried to drive with 37 kids screaming at all shades of the morning when you've only slept for 3 hours, but it's pretty difficult. I know firsthand because I ended up crashing a school bus off the edge of the Grand Canyon, but you know, we don't talk about that. I'm on parole, alright? I got my ankle monitor on, I'm good. But riding the bus is actually a terrible experience, especially when you don't really get to pick the people on your bus, which you never did, because there were always those kids for some reason that when it was 6:30 in the morning had way too much energy going on, like the type of energy where you were like, oh my god, Derek, please shut your mouth before I slap you with a box of Otter Pops. But when you don't have a box of Otter Pops nearby, you start to ask yourself questions. I rode the bus with a good friend of mine named Devin, who I still talk to this day, and we would kind of sit together, and in the morning, we were pretty quiet because we were normal. We would split some Pop-Tarts, sit back, maybe play some Pokemon cards, talk about Star Wars, you know, usual kid stuff, alright? I don't really know. We were like in 6th grade at the time, and there were obviously 8th graders on the bus, so we kind of just kept to ourselves and were pretty quiet in the morning. But there was this one group of kids who I'm going to name delinquents for the rest of this video, alright? And I'm saying delinquents because that's what they are. I think out of the group of these 4 kids, 3 of them are actually in prison now, so that just goes to show you that I didn't go to a fantastic middle school. But regardless, in middle school, when you're on a bus with future kids that are going to have a felony, you just kind of learn to keep your mouth shut and let them be rambunctious. But this group of kids, the delinquents, somehow managed to disrupt absolutely everybody on this one particular morning. So even in middle school, there were little cliques and stuff, and you had the delinquents who sat near the front of the bus and were really loud and rambunctious and caused a bunch of problems. And then there was another group of kids on our bus that were kind of the more jockey, athletic kids, you know, the football players, the soccer players, those type of kids. The people that definitely were a little more athletically engaged than a bunch of delinquents were. And these delinquents were being obsessively loud this one morning, alright? Like, to the point where I think if I actually had Chewbacca sitting next to me on the bus and he went out one of those, like, I would be less annoyed than the delinquents are. But, you know, it's me and my boy Devin. Neither of us is gonna say anything, because we were pretty small. Like, I was really kind of a short, chubby kid up until, like, my junior year of high school. So I knew I wasn't gonna say anything to the delinquents, because the delinquents, you know, very true to their name, were very good at doing the wrong things. So if you criticize them, you were gonna end up with a knuckle sandwich in the back of the bus with your underwear so far inside your small intestine that your body just accepted it as a new organ. And I wasn't really trying to live that life, alright? I like my intestines like I like most things. Not broken, okay? Like, let's be honest here. I think everybody likes their intestines actually working and, you know, filling out the filtration needs of the human body. But regardless, these kids were being incredibly loud, and they ended up messing with one of the jocks, like, benches, because the bus seats are kind of benches. I think you guys know what I'm saying. And, like, moved it, and it messed up one of them doing their homework. So the jocks kind of turned around, and they started yelling at the kids. And it's still only, like, 6:45 in the morning. Why don't you guys ever shut up? Like, sit down. Nobody likes you. You guys are disrupting the entire bus. And, you know, half the bus is kind of like, yeah, true. Like, this is a fact. You are, in fact, being disruptive. So a bunch of other people are like, yeah, can you guys shut up? And then the delinquents talk back and are like, oh, you guys think you're so much better than everyone just because you're athletic. Everybody else is tired too. I'm sorry that we have energy, yada, yada, yada. And like another decent portion of the bus, the louder kids are like, yeah, screw you guys. You don't get to control when we're quiet or when we're loud. Like, it's not up to you. So at this point, most of the bus is kind of yelling at each other in this argument, and finally, one of the delinquents is like, you know, if you really got a problem, man, if you got a problem with how loud I am on the bus, we can handle this after school. How about we square up then? Let's square up. And they're like, all right, let's fight. So, I don't know if what you just witnessed makes sense, but let me spell it out for you. The jocks and the kids on the bus who like it quiet, and the kids that are obnoxious and loud have just agreed to have somewhat of a gang fight in the middle of school, alright? Yay, yay. They're gonna fight after school right by the buses, which is fantastic for me, you know? It's an average Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to getting involved in a gang fight. It's really one of my biggest passions in life. When I wake up every morning, I always ask myself, Ryan, how can you get involved in a gang fight? And people screaming on the bus is always the way I knew this dream was gonna come true. No, in reality, I'm kind of like, yeah, there's no way this is gonna happen. Everybody's gonna calm down, you know? There's no way 37 kids are actually gonna fight outside the bus. And you know, I was right. There was no way 37 kids were gonna fight outside of the bus. So smart, look at me. So the amount of kids involved obviously lets it get around the school very, very quickly that, you know, there's going to be a fight on the bus after school. On a certain bus, it's going to be huge. There's like 37 kids involved. And most kids are freaking out all day like, bro, did you hear about the bus fight? Bro, did you hear about the bus fight? And obviously, kids are really bad at keeping secrets. You know, they're not very slick at making things be low-key. So by the end of the day, a principal or two might have found out, all right? I didn't snitch. I'm not a snitch. You guys know that. I don't believe in snitchery. I feel like it is the highest level of disrespect that one can give. But, you know, at the end of the day, I was also kind of happy that I wasn't going to have to sit on a bus having a gang fight. So the principal goes over the intercom and says, I don't know who's on this bus, but I will let anyone know that anyone found fighting on the bus or doing anything on the bus will be barred from the bus for the rest of the year, meaning that you can't ride the bus, which, you know, sounds like a hell of a punishment until you realize nobody likes riding the bus anyways, all right? And we're middle schoolers. It's not like we're really out here thinking about, the socioeconomic impact of my parents having to wake up earlier to drive me to school will be, we're like, damn, if we fight, we're just not going to have to ride the bus, which means all of the delinquents immediately are like, yeah, I don't have to ride the bus anymore, like YOLO, like even more of a reason to fight, haha, we're going to send it, we're going to beat these kids. So the day ends and we get near the bus, and sure enough, the two groups are kind of sitting there, like staring at each other, just talking mad crap to each other, alright? They're like cursing each other out, causing problems. Oh, no, you guys swing first. No, bro, you swing first, bro. You're lucky my friends are holding me back, bro. And then, you know, the delinquents are like, yeah, well, your mom's ugly, stupid, and you play sports because you're not athletic, though, bro. Like, you're not athletic. You know, middle school insults. It's not really too intense, alright? I've heard better roast come out the back end of my grandma's oven. So they're there kind of standing off, and finally they both realize that none of them are like actually ballsy enough to make the first move, okay? As much as they all talked crap all day about how they were going to beat each other on the school bus, everybody knows at the end of the day, middle schoolers are mostly all talk. So everybody gets on the bus and we're just chilling, and the first like 10 minutes of the bus ride is actually one of the calmest bus rides I've ever been on. Everyone was super well behaved, everyone was super nice to each other, there wasn't anyone screaming, no one doing anything crazy. It was like, you know, really, really calm. And I always thought the phrase, the calm before the storm, was just kind of weird. Like, it wasn't a real thing. And that's when I experienced it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even kidding you. 1 second, it's totally chilling. It's totally lit. Everybody's being nice. Everybody's getting along. There's no big deal. 30 seconds later, the two groups are up in the middle of the bus, like squaring up again. And this time, I don't know what snapped, what happened. I think somebody threw something at somebody. That was the catalyst. But they're like in each other's faces screaming, what, you guys really want to do this? Like, I thought you guys just backed down by the bus. We didn't back down. You backed down. What are you guys doing? There's probably 13 kids on either side. Like, this is a pretty big group of kids about to throw down in the middle of the bus. And the bus driver starts yelling, you know, hey, sit down, sit down. And I honestly feel so bad for bus drivers, all right? Here was this fat, middle-aged man, just wanted to go home and watch Judge Judy. And here's like 27 kids screaming about to beat each other on his bus. That's not your typical day. That's not what you expect to happen when you go to work. Hey, honey, I'm off to drive kids to school. I know you're probably expecting me to get in a fight and have to punch a couple kids in the face, but I'm really hoping that doesn't have to happen, you know? Like, that's never something that you're prepared for as a human being, and I don't blame them, because no one should really have to be prepared for that, because it's kind of ridiculous. And all of a sudden, it snapped. One of the delinquent kids reached back and just slapped one of the jocks in the face, which led to basically all 13 people on either side immediately picking opponent and just wailing on each other. So every other kid on the bus, like the other 10 kids that weren't involved in this feud and didn't really have a horse in the race, are obviously looking on in shock as kids are just wailing on each other, and it starts to spread throughout the bus. There's people fighting everywhere. There's people going like under the seats and kicking people in the ribs. Like, there is an absolute brawl breaking out in the middle of this bus, and obviously, I don't really know what to do. 12-year-old Scrubby wasn't exactly like, okay, what I've learned from multiple games of StarCraft is that to make the peace, nah, dog, I'm screaming like a banshee. I'm like, whoa, whoa, because I'm not gonna lie, alright? Was it cool for them to fight on the bus? Hell no. Was it entertaining? Hell yes. So I'm getting in the moment. I'm like, dude, they're fighting on the bus. This is insane. Like I said, people are getting kicked in the ribs. A couple kids were like wailing on each other, like had pinned somebody to the bench and were just wailing on the side of their head. Like, these kids are wailing on each other, right? And like I said, there's probably like 13 kids on either side. A fight falls onto a kid and his girlfriend, and the girlfriend gets hurt. So that kid starts fighting everybody. So now this kid's 1v26ing on the bus. There's like 27 kids fighting on this bus, and our bus driver, bless their soul, has no idea what to do. I don't think it's common training. Like, when you're getting trained to be a bus driver, you raise your hand. If every single kid on the bus starts fighting all at once, what am I supposed to do? What is my go-to method? Is there a way for me to break up the fight, or do I just wait it out and hope for the best? Like, no one ever asked that question. So he's honking the horn, saying, stop, 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 and obviously driving slower. So traffic is like formulating around us. We were on a pretty major road. The traffic is like melding around us because he's just honking the horn and going slow. So all the other drivers think there's an emergency on the school bus. And then the drivers around us start to realize there's a fight going on, because all you see through the windows of the bus are just little kid arms flailing around, people's faces getting smushed up against the glass, just people beating each other. Like, that's all the drivers around us are seeing, right? So obviously, everyone is very confused with the situation at hand. Not many people driving home from work expect to see a school bus full of white kids just beating each other. So that's going down. Finally, the bus driver just pulls over and starts just separating kids and sending half outside and half staying on the bus, and calls the school, like, it's not the cops, it's the school resource officers. I don't know if you guys have those, but in our school district, we have like school cops. Like, they're cops, but they only work for the school district, so their only job is to come here. So they come down, and basically everybody who was involved in the fight was banned from the bus. We all got banned from the bus for a week, actually, until they got the security footage back, because they didn't know who was fighting and who wasn't. Like, so many kids were fighting that for a week they were just like, we don't trust any of you to be responsible on the bus. But yeah, it was pretty hectic. You know, 27 kids breaking out in Mortal Kombat finish her moves in the middle of the ride home is not something you expect to see every day. But regardless, 27 kids ended up getting banned from the bus, which is pretty impressive numbers, all right? Those aren't rookie numbers. Some people get into a fight on the bus and get banned for a week, but I think 27 people getting banned school district-wide from the bus is a pretty epic, savage number, all right? In terms of getting that many people involved in a fight, it's pretty impressive. Regardless, after that, my parents didn't let me ride the bus anymore because they, you know, thought I was going to get jumped, which, to be fair, probably would have happened eventually. But, yeah, that was the time that there was a bunch of fighting on the bus. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and as always, keep it 100. Today's notification shout out goes to the one, the only, the handsome, some would say even really flattering, it's Abnir67. Big shout out to you for having on notifications, bro. If you want a notification shout out, all you gotta do, send me a screenshot of your notifications onto my Instagram @Scrubby, and I shout somebody out every day. But on that note, I'm gonna go on the bus right now and fight a homeless man. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.